Have you heard? KushCon is headed to Tampa this August 6th and 7th. Network with more than 7,500 hemp and cannabis professionals, sample products from more than 300 brands, and take in over 70 educational sessions. Do you work in cannabis or hemp? KushCon Tampa is the only place you can meet directly with the nation's largest distributors and retailers. Get tickets and learn more at kush.com/KushCon. Plus, listeners of this show can save 50% on tickets with promo code PODCAST. Again, that's kush.com/KushCon. See you there.
You're not going to find people on LeafWire just talking about how high they are and their favorite strain of weed. There's plenty of places you can go to for that. On LeafWire, we have a news feed, so you can scroll down just like a LinkedIn. But you'll see people are asking each other questions about licenses, about science, about new products, about events, like if people can recommend testing facilities in certain cities. A lot of people think the cannabis industry is just growers and dispensaries. But the reality is that it's basically 20x that big with every other industry in the world that is potentially servicing the industry.
From the PodConx studios, high in the Rockies at the beautiful Beaver Creek Resort, it's the Raising Cannabis Capital Show.
Today on MJ Bulls, we are joined by Peter Vogel, the CEO of LeafWire. Peter, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, I created my profile and I connected with a bunch of my friends, and I even made my first post. So I am officially on LeafWire, and I'm mad at myself. I think I told you this before we started. I'm mad at myself for taking so long to join. For our listeners who aren't members, LeafWire is a cannabis industry B2B social network platform with over 50,000 members in over 100 countries. Peter, to get started, I got to ask you the elephant in the room. We already have LinkedIn. Why do we need a cannabis B2B social media platform?
Yeah, great question. And one, let me just say welcome to our community on LeafWire. We're really glad to have you on there. And it may have taken you a couple years, but hey, you're here now. So I'll make sure to comment and post on everything you put on there to help promote it.
Thanks.
Okay, so the question about LinkedIn. One, LinkedIn is so big. So LinkedIn is 600 million people. That's twice the population of the United States. So on LinkedIn, you're going to find every single industry, every single kind of job from everywhere in the world. And most of the people who work in cannabis, they really want to see a much more kind of highlight of cannabis news, cannabis science, cannabis business. And the other thing we do is we have a variety of resources on there that you're not going to get on like a LinkedIn. So we have an events calendar. We have more than 100 events on there from Switzerland to Texas, Jamaica, and a lot of them have discounts for LeafWire members. So you can get 20, 30, 40, 50% off. So you're never going to find something like that on LinkedIn, which has to be everything to everyone. It's impossible for them to do something like that. Our job board too, I think is the largest job board out there. Combine jobs from multiple different resources. Our members post them. We pull down jobs from about 15 of the largest MSOs out there, and we pull jobs from Indeed. So the combination of all those different sources is 10,000 plus cannabis and hemp jobs. And I don't think anyone out there has that many, just because we pull from so many different sources to provide the biggest resource. So one, I would just say the focus and our ability to provide resources that someone like a LinkedIn could never do. And second is the stigma. A lot of us, I'm in Colorado, a lot of us forget that cannabis is still illegal in more places than it's legal recreationally. So it's not normal in most places in the United States to have someone smoking a joint or having an edible at a party or being able to talk openly about cannabis. Like that's not normal yet in the United States. Mm-hmm. Like we a lot of us in the industry, we kind of forget because that's what we do all day. Is all we do is talk about cannabis and the business of cannabis. But a lot of people have relatives, they have ex-colleagues, they have family members, people who they don't necessarily want to be talking about hemp and cannabis all day long because there is still the stigmas there. And you also do have, if who knows, is cannabis the last industry you ever work in? Do you want 100 cannabis posts and then try and go back to a Fortune 100 bank who they're going to look at your social media and, wow, this guy's a stoner. So there's a lot of reasons that people find LeafWire, they feel safe there and comfortable. And LinkedIn also, most people don't know this, they just started taking down all paid ads that have anything to do with cannabis, marijuana, or even hemp, I think. And I know this because they took down our ads. We had ads that said, "Come join LeafWire, the largest cannabis business network." And that's all it said. It was all business. There wasn't pictures of the plant. It was just business. And they took down all of our ads. In addition to, we've had multiple other companies tell us all the same. And this just happened Q1 of this year. LinkedIn had a bit of a crackdown and started to take down paid advertising.
Jeez.
Even for ancillary companies. Lighting, it doesn't matter. Science, it's no longer being allowed.
You bring up a good point, and I know that we've beat this drum a bunch on our podcast, different podcasts, but it bears beating again, is that Facebook, LinkedIn now, Instagram, Google, they all either shadow ban us or completely eliminate our ability to advertise, which is another reason why what you're doing is so important, because it's a B2B platform. So if I want to send my message to other businesses, there's very few places that I can do that.
Right. And that's one of the things we found powerful about creating a tool like LeafWire is, we're very much focused on business. We're not built for consumers. You're not going to find people on LeafWire just talking about how high they are and their favorite strain of weed. There's plenty of places you can go to for that. On LeafWire, we have a news feed, so you can scroll down just like a LinkedIn. But you'll see people are asking each other questions about licenses, about science, about new products, about events, like if people can recommend testing facilities in certain cities. A lot of people think the cannabis industry is just growers and dispensaries. But the reality is that it's basically 20x that big with every other industry in the world that is potentially servicing the industry. So lighting companies, packaging, shipping, HR, finance, investors, lawyers. On LeafWire, we attract all those diverse sectors. I mean, it's insurance companies that are now finally moving into cannabis. It's banks that are offering accounts. It's technology for security. Every company out there probably has about service providers they work with, even if they don't realize it. But we all work with so many different companies, and all of those are very focused and dependent on the cannabis and hemp industry.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned the conferences and the events, and which is just really taken on a life of its own. I have some experience in the event business, but I know that one of the initiatives that you have is helping out with the apps, which are just nightmares. From an event organizer, I know the headaches of dealing with the app, and I know that was one of the initiatives, or I've heard you talking about moving forward. Yep. Maybe give our listeners an idea of what your plans are with that.
Sure. Yeah, and I'd love to. That is what we're really excited about for this year. One, we're launching a mobile app for the first time ever. So everything we've done thus far has been more desktop oriented. You can use it on a mobile, but it's not a mobile app. So it's not quite as easy to use. But anyway, so that's going to come out in the next probably 2 months or so. We're also working with conference organizers, because we know the experience most people have with those apps that you mentioned is kind of annoying. And we talked to probably about 100 people to kind of survey them and find out people's experience. You go to an event, they tell you to download an app you've never used. You have to register. You mostly don't check it that much because you don't even know why you should be using it. You get back to your hotel room at night and you look at it and you say, "Oh crap, I got 2 messages from people who wanted to meet me," and you didn't even see it. Then you go home, you never look at that app again. So it's a completely wasted experience. There's no continuity, there's no connection. So we figured if we're going to be the largest business network in cannabis, which we already are, why not be the tool people can use at any conference they go to?
Yep.
So our idea is to work with conference organizers and let them upload a map of their event, the agenda of the event, the sponsors, the parties, etc. So all you have to do is open your LeafWire app and you can have all the information at your fingertips for that event. And we're going to offer that free of charge to conference organizers and even tell them that we'll help promote their event on LeafWire. For us, it's entirely an acquisition and engagement strategy. So we want people to start using us. And then when you connect with people at a show, it'll tag them as being from that show. And we're going to have a little QR code thing that everyone has now, of course, where you can just snap a picture of the QR code and it'll connect you on LeafWire. So then the next show you go to, everyone you met with is in your app already. So every time you do, you build your network bigger and bigger and bigger, and you never have to download a new app, and all the information is just at your fingertips. So we think it's something the industry really wants. We've already gotten 7 LOIs signed by conferences who say once we have it, they want to use it.
Subscribe to Hemper's monthly smoking boxes, and you'll never be caught needing to replenish your stash again. Hemper is hands down the best place to stock up on your smoking supplies, no matter the occasion. Curated with innovative and hand-selected products to ensure you're getting the absolute highest quality accessories for your smoking experience. Hemper's monthly subscription service provides $100+ in value for only $40. There's also a convenient option to receive one every month, every 3 months, every 6 months, or yearly. Plus, MJ Bulls listeners get an additional 10% off Hemper box and the XL box with promo code MJBulls10. So go to hemper.com, type in promo code MJBulls10 to get started. Well, those are two big projects in addition to expanding into other countries. Are you going to be able to fund this out of cash flow, or are you going to do a fundraise for this?
So we just started a Series A about a week and a half ago. So we're raising about $2 million. And anyone who wants more detail, we have a full data room and documentation we can share. And anyone out there who's interested, you can just email peter@leafwire.com. I'm happy to share information with anyone who might be interested in learning a little bit more.
Well, learning a little bit more about the potentially next LinkedIn in the cannabis industry. As you mentioned, the cannabis industry is so much bigger than people can even wrap their heads around. And we'll have all of LeafWire information in our show notes. So if you missed the email addresses, we'll have it all there for anyone. And I'm sure, if nothing else, check out the site, build your profile, connect to me. and then if you wanted to talk to Peter about maybe participating in this next round, I'm sure he'd be happy to talk to you. Peter, real quick interview. I know we have a lot more to cover, so we'll do this again maybe in 6 months, but I appreciate you doing this today.
Yeah, sure. Love to. Happy to join anytime you want. The only other thing I would add is one of the things we're really excited about is the international opportunity here. That since we were from 100 countries, we view Europe, legalization, Central America, South America. We think there's no one else doing this in any of those countries or parts of the world. So there's a lot of blue ocean. We can make a foothold in a lot of those areas before anyone else, even starts a network. So that's one of the things we think is really exciting is the global nature of this opportunity.